Go through all of the upcoming things we have at FBN this year. But how about Jocko? That was just incredible. There's a lot to think about there, but especially if not you, who? So it really just all goes back to personal accountability and personal discipline, and I will never doubt Jocko Willink again. Okay, so we're going to go through all of what is new with FBN. It has been a long time since we've gotten to be with you all. So there's been a lot that's changed. You may be aware of it. You may not be aware of it, depending on when you've joined FBN. For those of you who've been with us many, many years, a lot of this may also be completely new. But let's go back to the basics, because a lot of things have changed in FBN over the last 3 years. There's been a lot of new developments, but it stays the same. The mission stays the same. Why was FBN created? Why do we exist? What do we do to serve you? It all goes back to the founding premise of FBN, which is producers are fundamentally stuck in the middle in the ag economy. You have less power, less leverage, less information than those you do business with. The markets are highly concentrated with very large players who have more information, more market power, and therefore have higher profitability than your farms. You have millions of farms stuck in the middle, and FBN exists to create leverage and information and power for you, leveling the playing field by building a network of farmers online, through your commerce, through information, and allowing you to do business in fundamentally new ways. That's what FBN has always been about. Everything we do is in service of that mission. So what's happened in the last few years at FBN? Well, since we last saw you, FBN was about 9,000 members at the last Farmer to Farmer just 3 years ago. It's now over 55,000 members around the US, Canada, Australia. So it's really been incredible. Those 55,000 members collectively farm over 119 million acres, which is larger than the state of California. Every Farmer to Farmer, we've updated how big FBN was. And at the very first Farmer to Farmer, it was the size of Delaware. Delaware is very small. California is very large. So it is really just remarkable, the productive capacity that you all represent. And that's what's so incredible about the network that has been built. It's international, US, Canada, Australia. It's nearly every crop and agricultural practice, nearly every type of livestock practice as well. All of you are represented in the FBN system. Data has been a backbone of FBN since the beginning. We have processed over 100 billion field data points, 315 million acre events of data, over 150,000 invoices and price records that you've shared into the system to get price transparency on inputs and the products you buy. And it now represents over 6.8 thousand seeds in Seed Finder that you can see. It's the largest library of seed performance that's ever been created. All of it been crowdsourced by you who built that by sharing in with other members to make the world your plot trial. When you share that data then allows you to get leverage, gives you better information on the market, and lets you make decisions smarter. That's what we are all about in creating network power and insights. Democratizing information means giving you the power of that information. You're the creators of that information. You have the invoices. It's your data when it comes to things like seed and benchmarking and yield performance. And then by sharing that and aggregating it and seeing that in a democratized form, you get the leverage and power from all of that information. Okay, so let's talk about how that translates to getting back in the black or staying there. You may have had very good years these last few years, but staying there is going to be the challenge. It all comes back to maximizing your profit potential across your entire operation. Profit potential, you simplify it all down on the farm, it's yield times price minus cost, okay? You got to increase the value of your outputs, you have to increase your outputs, and you have to manage your costs. And discipline around managing those costs is incredibly important. So what FBN has done, and what we exist to do, is create an ROI system, a return on investment system, to maximize your profit potential across your entire farm business. We look at every part of the farm business and say, how can the network, information, technology, and our digital commerce platform help drive producer profitability? It starts with FBN Direct for buying inputs on seed, crop protection, livestock supplies, now biologicals. It goes into the generating more value of your output in intelligent grain technologies, grain marketing, and financial services, having the analytics to make the decisions across all of those, whether it's futures and options, seed selection, pricing, and buying, and then having the financial infrastructure around things like insurance and risk management to manage and run the farm. And then lastly, it's being part of a system. It's being part of the community, the FBN community of all of you. That's why we're so happy to be able to, take so many Q&A on the FBN app and in community, because ultimately that's where you can do all kinds of new things with peer-to-peer commerce, share information, learn from each other, and continue what we've been doing here at Farmer to Farmer the last 2 days online through the rest of the year. Okay, let's talk about getting back in the black. Taking extreme ownership. What does it mean to take extreme ownership, as Jocko talked about? How can that start applying on the farm? Well, at the last Farmer to Farmer, we talked about something called the Stockdale Paradox. This comes from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. Admiral Jim Stockdale was a POW in the Vietnam War, and he was later asked, and he'd been a POW for many years, he was later asked, how did you know what separated those who survived and thrived through the POW experience versus those who didn't? And what he said was this: you must never confuse the faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. So you have to hold those two extremes at any one time. You have to confront the facts, you have to take ownership of those facts, and you have to do that in a way where you don't lose sight that you will prevail in the end when you do that. So operational discipline equals freedom. How you manage the farm, how you generate that discipline in your team. That discipline starts at a personal level, as we talked about with Jocko. Because the next flock of black swans might not be in our favor, okay? We have seen the world change so rapidly in the last 2 years. It's largely changed around us, but many of you have felt it in very extreme ways with cost, supply chain issues, shortages, and all plant shutdowns that have affected your businesses very, very dramatically. The world is not necessarily getting more stable right now. So this is an era where those tail risks and those black swan events will continue. So how do you persevere through that, and how do you stay disciplined and focused through that? So taking ownership, knowing your numbers, managing your financials, managing your decisions. Let's talk about how the FBN analytics can be brought to bear. So this is where FBN started, with things like Seed Finder, which provide you genetic information to see when seeds are genetically matching. You can see performance information on products to see how to optimize the placement of a seed on a field, to get price transparency so you can see what a fair market price is for a seed, regardless of whom you're buying it from. You get information. This is all free in FBN now. 10-meter weekly refresh satellite data so you can track the progress of your crops and get automated yield detection and change detection on a weekly basis. The yield forecast accuracy has continued to improve year after year. So for those of you who participate in that, what you do is when you put your planting data into FBN, that yield forecast updates weekly as weather changes, as satellite signals change, and you can do a field-by-field estimate of your expected yield. And a lot of you have told me use that for things like planning grain storage and marketing decisions. So take advantage of that. When you get to put data in FBN, take advantage of these kind of features. And if you want to see how to use them, come out and talk to the data team in the product section. There's a wide range of data analytics in FBN that are available to you, from seed performance, automated strip trial intelligence, mapping satellite imagery, using your data to do things like precision insurance, which we'll talk about later, market intelligence for things like futures and options management, transparency tools on pricing for chem and seed. We just released our first fertilizer price transparency report this year, which many of you participated in, and yield benchmarking, of course, to evaluate performance, measure and track your performance so that you can manage how you're improving. Now, the wisdom of crowds are incredibly important in that as well. We talked about the FBN community. So what does that mean? That means that all of you collectively have an incredible amount of intelligence to learn and share with each other. And you can benefit from each other, not just in sharing information in the form of data, but in participating and sharing tips and tricks, just like you're doing here today throughout the FBN and farmer-to-farmer experience, you can do that on the community. And that's what people have been using community for, asking questions of one another, seeking help, buying and selling products. And we're going to be continuing to expand and improve community so you can do more and do more commerce in the community section of FBN. A lot of you are selling goods, have met new farmers through the process, hired people. It's really amazing to hear those stories. So please take advantage of community, use it. You'll be able to track and follow and hashtag each other just like you do on other social media platforms. That's all coming soon. So definitely download and get involved in community when you're here at Farmer to Farmer. So it's your network. We need your help in building FBN. We need your help in designing what FBN becomes. We started as one piece of what we have built, which we're going to show you. What we started as was initially sharing data around seed, which we then turned into benchmarking, and then we turned into seed performance, and then price transparency, and then price transparency turned into us being able to provide those products to farmers. At every step in that entire process of our life as a company, we've been driven by you, by our members, to design the business that you wanted to see exist in the ag market. That's what we exist to do. And by being radically focused and obsessed with those requests that you make of us, we've been able to build FBN into something that is far, far greater than what we had imagined at the beginning of FBN. And it's that philosophy that's at the core of our teams and all the people that you meet here. They're all out here and very eager to get that kind of feedback, whether it's in the marketing team, the grain marketing teams, the financial teams, the design and the data scientists, whomever. We want to know what you want to build and what you want to see happen in the ag ecosystem to make your life better and to make farming more profitable for farmers. Okay, so all that can be done in the app. Everything we're going to show you today can be done in the FBN app. So take advantage of it. Experiment with it. If you need help with it, come talk to us. Okay, let's talk about FBN Direct. FBN Direct is our platform providing you all the supplies you need to run your farm. And the focus for us is creating farm commerce that is better, that is fairer, and is going to allow you to do business in new ways. You all know where it started. Where it started from was this, price transparency. This is the initial analysis that we did when you started sharing data in to say, hey, take a look at what's going on in chemical pricing. I don't think I'm getting a good price. So we said, okay, let's look at that. Members shared thousands of invoices in, we matched them up, and we found producers were paying 2, 3, 4, even up to 7 times one another for the exact same products. So there was an enormous problem in the market. You told us the problem existed, we studied it, we validated it, and now we did something about it. So it's always our fundamental belief that input should be simple, they should be transparent, they should be unbiased, so that you can make the right decisions, you have the choices, and you have competitive offers for your business to drive your business. So what has FBN Direct become? What have we built? It's far more than what it started as, which was the first farmer to farmer. We announced it was basically a price list. You could come online and we would help you go find those products called FBN Procurement. It's now become a truly integrated platform. It starts with having a broad product portfolio across seed, crop protection, crop nutrition, and livestock supplies. National, even global logistics network now to partner with our suppliers, get product in and get it to your farm directly without working with intermediaries as much as possible so that we can manage that experience end to end. A fully integrated e-commerce platform for both decision-making, purchasing, and financing. And then the Community Builder Network, which we'll talk about in a minute, which empowers all of you to either be entrepreneurs or work with local partners if you want to work in that way. And year after year, customer satisfaction with FBN has continued to grow. And it went up almost 85% this year in people's experiences with FBN Direct, which we're very, very proud about. Okay, so what does the logistics network look like? When we started FBN Direct, we had, I think, one warehouse. We tried to do all our fulfillments out of that one facility. It was very difficult because we have a national member base. If you see all those dots are the gray dots are FBN members. The blue dots are FBN members within 250 miles of an FBN facility. We've built over 32 facilities around North America and many more in Australia as well. And we have about 84% of your acres or 97% of our Canadian acres within a day's drive of one of our facilities. That allows us to make deliveries as quickly as possible to your farms. You have to manage your logistics in a completely integrated way. This gives you a picture of actually what these facilities look like. These are 5 of our big ones that then feed out to our smaller ones around the country. Each of these is nearly 200,000 square feet. The Brighton facility is very large. Some of you got to go to that this summer. We just opened one last month in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, another 200,000 square feet. Newton, Iowa, Olive Branch, and Whitestown, all of our major facilities that then feed out to our smaller facilities around the country. And Louise is going to show you inside these facilities tomorrow so you can get a picture of what these actually look like and how we actually run and manage our logistics network. But it's incredible. If you actually saw the infrastructure behind FBN now to serve your farms, it's incredibly impressive, and it's very unique in agriculture because e-commerce and doing things online is not as simple as just having a website. That product has to come to you at the time you expect it, and we work incredibly hard to create that experience for you. Last year, we made over 28,000 deliveries, and you can see we've now also made major investments in having our own fleet so that the trucks and the drivers could communicate with you so you knew exactly when to expect the product. So let's look at a year in FBN Direct. There's all 28,000 deliveries pumping out of each of our big facilities. That's planting, when all of your orders are starting to show up. And you can see throughout the year how many orders folks are making and how those facilities feed each other and then work out to your farms. I could watch that all day long. But it's an incredibly sophisticated system that combines data science, inventory placement, understanding your needs in each market, pest intelligence, problem prediction, and then combining that with our logistics system to be able to show you that on the website when that product is going to get to your farm. Okay, let's talk about the products themselves. What is available through FBN? So the lineup is very broad now. You know, we have a full access for livestock. We launched that last year through our acquisition with Prairie Livestock Supply. We have a biologicals and crop nutrition program, a full seed program, crop protection, which you know us for. But one of the really important things here is that FBN is not simply a reseller of products. FBN has a very robust product development capability, R&D capability, and field trialing capability to continue to innovate and bring new products to your farms and test them and put quality products on your farm so you can buy with as much confidence as possible. This is often a misnomer when you talk about things like generics. Willowwood USA is now an FBN owned brand and company. There's a robust lineup of generic products. We go through exhaustive QA. We do supplier audits, temperature testing, all kinds of validations and checks to make sure that that product and QC process is exactly the spec that we expect it to be to get to your farm. So generics are very high quality, and you can now have an incredible amount of confidence when you buy generics because we are actually representing that as FBN. So Willowwood USA is now FBN, and when you buy those products, that is an FBN brand. Also are announcing Farmers First and the creation of the Farmers First brand. Farmers First is FBN's brand for our adjuvant line, our crop nutrition line, and crop protection products. You'll start seeing more and more products coming out under the Farmers First brand, which are all part of that same umbrella. So in this last year, we conducted over 250 field trials with Farmers First products, 262 products tested, 54 new products coming out in the pipeline across crop protection and biologicals. And we expect that in the next year, we'll have 18 of the top 25 and 17 of the top 25 in Canada covered by an FBN brand, which means you can buy that product from FBN with incredible confidence in its quality and the expectations of its performance in a way that's very transparent, online, and come straight to your farm. Some of the products we'll be coming out with include atrazine, Pinox, quinclorac, and then in Canada, Exoxy will be very popular as well. So we have a range of new products coming out and even more coming out in 2024, which will all be under an FBN brand that you can use and use to manage on your farm. Get some water. Okay. So crop protection is obviously what FBN has been very well known for a long time. And crop nutrition is a new part of FBN with Farmers First, which is tremendously exciting. I think a lot of you went to the biologicals talk yesterday. There's going to be more talks on that today, and I definitely encourage you to come out to the biological section to see these products in action. Fertilizer prices have been one of your most difficult issues to manage in the last couple of years. We've just seen surging energy prices in Europe and in North America. We've seen supply shortages, shipping shortages. It's made fertilizer a very, very difficult problem. So when you look at biologicals, and there's a tremendous amount of interest in biologicals to maximize your fertilizer dollar, and that's the way to approach them. Not necessarily as a substitute for the fertilizer, but as a way to protect the investment you're making into your fertilizer to make your nutrients as bioavailable as possible. So we've launched a complete line of soil prebiotics, carbon sources, photosynthetic enhancers, and high uptake nutrients to protect nutrient availability and protect your yield that you're gaining. So protecting yield really starts from the perspective of maintaining the natural yield potential of your crop. Many of you are probably approached or sold products all the time where somebody is claiming 3 or 4% improvement in X, Y, or Z. And if you bought all those products together, does that equal 5,000 bushel corn? Well, mathematically, that's what it means, but no, of course, that's never going to happen. So what you have to change the thinking about is it's actually about protecting the yield as opposed to trying to expect every product to stack on top of each other to lead to incrementally more yield. There's a natural yield potential within your crop that it's actually capable of producing. And the key to that is reducing stress and improving the bioavailability of nutrients. And then doing that in the long term by building the soil health around it. So the FBN crop nutrition system really attaches to the entire plant system, the entire plant physiology. And we structured it in a way to partner with crop protection to reduce the stress on the plant from chemical applications and improve the management during various times of year. So when you program a crop nutrition program, you can time it to your critical chemical applications as well, and you can co-apply many of those products, and they're designed to work in conjunction with each other. So it's very, very, you might want to take a picture of this or come out to the booth, and we have a full annual planner for how you can manage crop nutrition better on the farm. Okay, what are some of the results? Because this is actually very exciting. Through the IRL program this year, we were able to start testing and validating products on many of your farms. And many of you can participate in that. That program is open, and we're talking about that this afternoon and tomorrow again. It's how to be a test partner in the FBN system. With the Inhabit P product, this is very interesting data that just came in. Across 20 farms, the average performance was maintaining 100% of the yield versus the checks in comparison by reducing high phos starter by 90%. So 100% of the equivalent yield was protected and achieved with a 90% reduction in high phos starter fertilizer. So very, very exciting type of work. Please come out and talk to the biologicals team about how to look at this. Okay, so now think about how to actually purchase those products. Well, talked about being integrated on e-commerce, and what have we been doing on that side? So the FBN store, all the products are available online via FBN Direct, 24 hours a day. You can always see the prices, you know what you're going to pay, and you know what to expect, and you know when that product can get delivered to you. You have agronomic intelligence and price transparency on products where that data is available, and you can get regional product performance on things like seed. The other important things that are now fully integrated is you have 0% finance available at checkout. So you can apply for finance at the time you check out for a product. You can also pre-apply, so you have that credit line available to you that's available to then increase purchases throughout the year. When you talk about knowing when you'll get the product, that is actually one of the hardest things for a business to do, because you have to integrate your entire supply chain. You have to know the location of every single item in every single one of your warehouses. You have to know where your trucks are and when that product can actually get out to your farm. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes on in the background to be able to provide you the most confidence possible in your expected delivery date. You can schedule that date, or you can see exactly how quickly that product can get to your farm. So when you go on a product, it'll always show you its expected delivery date to your farm by knowing your location and knowing our inventory status inside of FBN. And then now, once you've purchased, you can finally track your order. That's something that's very easy to do when you use an Amazon or you use standard e-commerce. You can go on UPS and you can see the product and where it is and where your shipment is. Very hard to do when you start talking about bulk goods, hazardous goods, running on a completely different logistics system. So we've had to build those capabilities ourselves to be able to provide you that level of confidence to know where your orders are and when they're going to get there. This is one of the biggest new developments at FBN. It's called an acre pack. Acre pack is really designed to combine all of those aspects of FBN into a crop planning tool. So it combines the agronomics of timing and application and rate with the economics of the product, the pricing, and the sequence that those products will be applied and which products can work in a compatible manner into a single system. Acre pack, we are very, very excited about because it simplifies input purchasing and can give you a total picture on your entire year. You can start with your seed. You can go into your crop protection, your adjuvants, and your crop nutrition, and we will keep expanding these to have more and more products covered in acre pack. But you can look at your entire year. You select your acres, you select your rates by product, which default to based on the state you're located in, and you can automatically see the math on every single one of the products that you're going to need for that year. It actually also will calculate any product that's left over. So when you've selected your rate, it'll default to the most efficient quantity so you don't overbuy and you don't get stuck with packages that are half full. You can see the full pricing on every product, and then that's all going to get translated down into a single price per acre. You can see every product on a price per acre, and you can see the totality of your input plan on a price per acre. So many of you may do this in a spreadsheet today, or have somebody do this, or an agronomist will do this to create a crop plan on an acre by acre basis. Acre pack now does that for you in minutes. It's an incredible technology, and it's going to keep getting better. We just came out with it about 4 weeks ago, and many of you may have already taken advantage of it in Cyber November. It also ties into discounts. So as you add more products, it's going to continue to give you more capability to earn savings throughout the system. That allows us to make deliveries even more efficient because we can put more products on the truck, and therefore we can pass those savings back to you when it comes to the farm. So we're incredibly excited about Acre Pack. If you haven't tried Acre Pack yet, you can do it on your phone or come out and we will gladly walk you through an Acre Pack this year. It is available by crop. It starts with each crop. So we try to solve the specific problems for every distinct part of your operation. Corn, soybeans, wheat, rice, cotton in the US. In Canada, winter wheat, barley, canola, peas, lentil, corn, and soybeans. Australia, wheat, barley, canola, cotton, and sorghum. And we will continue to expand acre packs for more and more crops here as our product portfolio expands. But the way to think about it is you can now get control of knowing exactly what your input costs can be at the start of the year, and with combination with FBN Finance and the ability to purchase those products automatically online, you can lock that in at the beginning of the year. So now you have total visibility on your costs on a dollar per acre basis. Okay, this is tremendously exciting as well. This is brand new at Farmer to Farmer this year. So when it comes to crop protection, how do you best manage not just the purchasing of the products, using the quality of the product, the high quality products and the success of the application, but now reducing the amount of product that you need to use in the first place to better manage your cost per acre. And that's where the future of spraying technology comes in. And many of you have probably seen some of the things that machinery manufacturers have been coming out with. Some of those innovations are very, very expensive or require a completely new machine. And what we're going to show you here is a retrofit on your sprayer that gives you an unprecedented capability to manage herbicide and reduce herbicide use. And this is from Green Eye Technology, which is out here in the lobby. Green Eye, partner of FBN, and we have some very, very exciting programs that we are announcing and launching here at Farmer to Farmer, available first to you in all of North America that you can learn about at lunch. The Green Eye's technology is really incredible. It starts with automated weed detection using computer vision and artificial intelligence, detects individual weeds. It can spray individual weeds at speeds up to 15 miles an hour in the field. It retrofits the system on your existing boom and sprayer, and it can reduce residual herbicide use up to 90%. We validated this in our own FBN trials this summer, and this data was from the University of Nebraska that they did separately this summer as well. So definitely encourage everyone to come to the Green Eye Talk at lunch, learn about this technology, stop by the booth. We have a very exciting program that combines the ability to finance the retrofit and get the products to use that are custom built for that application on special FBN acre packs through the Green Eye system. So we're very, very excited about this, and definitely check it out. Okay, let's talk a bit about seed. So when it comes to seed, we really want to give you more control. There's tremendous pricing power in the market built on traits. Those traits lead to things like zone pricing. Those zone pricing leads to problems of price and performance transparency. You've never had a good visibility until FBN was able to reveal that data about price, performance, and genetics to know what a fair market price was. Seed companies have divided the market up into zones, and those zones, cause you to pay different prices based on the genetic traits being used. There's labeling, zone pricing issues. These have been endemic in seed, and so what it leads to is there's actually less genetic competition than you would think. So what we've really tried to architect the FBN seed portfolio around is transparency, giving you cutting-edge technology, focusing on ROI, and then having flexibility in your purchases. Our seed lineup that we've assembled with FBN's own genetics through F2F and our partners is broad and expansive, and it covers conventional corn through the F2F line with glyphosate-tolerant conventional corn without any zone pricing or trait fees. That technology came off patent. FBN was the first to integrate into our own genetics. Master Farmer, which provides a full traded lineup, it uses Robseco genetics. Paloma, which includes the Enlist E3 trait, which has been incredibly popular. And the owner is MS Tech. Virtue Seeds with GDM. Warner, which provides conventional sorghum. And KWS for hybrid rye and millet. Many of you are dairy producers would be interested in that. So there's a tremendous amount of product availability and options through the FBN system to get you cutting edge technology. Enlist has been an incredibly popular option to allow you to use 2,4-D, glyphosate and glufosinate. So it creates incredible flexibility on the farm. And then Master Farmer, which includes the Viptera and Duracade Viptera trait lineup. Those traits are going to help stack up against leading competitors in the market. So if you've used these traits before or experimented with these traits, they're definitely worth looking at and trialing on your farm so you can start to see what the returns could be. Okay, so seed genetics really come down to focusing on ROI. The constant tension in seed is, should I focus on yield or should I focus on profit? And FBN's philosophy is you should always focus on profit, bottom dollar, and what that means. That means in seed is price to performance. So evaluate your seeds on how much you're going to pay, how much you're going to return, and how that's going to flow into your overall economic picture across all the inputs and your program across the farm. We have tested the seeds on over 200 trials this summer, 300 corn, 80 soybean strip trials powered by our IRL research program. And some of the results that have just come in have been very, very encouraging. F2F genetics on average versus the competitive checks had an ROI gain of $44 an acre. Master Farmer had an ROI gain of $39 an acre, averaged across the seeds across all our trials. And Paloma Enlist E3, a gain of $39.9 an acre. So if you haven't taken a look at the portfolio, come talk to our agronomists and take a look to see if they make sense for you regionally. And that's really the emphasis for us, is giving you more and more control over your seed without things like zone pricing, to be able to access leading traits and technology in a transparent, affordable, and fairly priced way. And that's the FBN seed portfolio. This has been brand new for us, which is livestock. Livestock is the other half of the house for most of your operations. Many of you are integrated producers. There are nearly 700,000 ranches in the United States, another 80,000 feeders, 40,000 hog farms, 40,000 dairies. There's a tremendous amount of livestock production that exists in the US. And we want to be able to serve that side of the operation as well as we do on the crop side. There's tremendous amount of market consolidation and power in that side of the business. It's in fact in many ways more challenging than on the crop side with the concentration that exists in meat packing. Packer profits have skyrocketed, producer profits have continued to decline because of consolidation in that power. So we've developed a program with our partners and through our acquisition with Prairie Livestock, dairy, beef, and swine program and products. It covers animal health, nutrition, as well as things like insurance and risk management, which we'll talk about later this afternoon. We have deep veterinary expertise across all of those species through our team, who is here. Nutritional expertise as well. We have over 2,000 animal health products that you can now access, both prescription and OTC, as well as supply products, and they're available nationally around the country. So all those are available to you through the FBN pharmacy that you can get and you can work with. If you work with an existing vet, you can still access those products and you can access those deals and you can use them all on your FBN finance program that you use for the rest of your crop protection or other input needs. Feed is an incredibly important part of cost of gain in managing cattle costs. And what we've started to do there is to take feed and make feed more transparent and online. Same thing, create more analytics around the diet, create more purchasing flexibility so you can understand feed costs. We've created the first liquid feed store online so you can come in, see price quotes every day for liquid feed and supplements. You can see exactly what that price is going to be delivered to your farm. You can get it purchased using the FBN Finance, and it'll deliver direct to your farm on your delivery schedule that you set. We have a new amino acid-based nutrition program that our nutritionists have developed. We've started testing that with many of you. It has very exciting early results, $20 to $60 per head savings, 5 to 15% feed efficiency gains, and improved carcass value. It's all about, again, similar to on the crop nutrition side, making nutrients more bioavailable. Amino acids are about improving your body's, in this case, the ruminant's ability to access the nutrients that are available to it through its existing diet and ration. There's also a conventional full line of cattle products and swine products, dry feed, mineral tubs, premix, and base mix. So you can serve the vast needs of your farm, ranch, or feeding operation through the FBN system. Now, ultimately, by being able to bring all those things together, it's very exciting as to where this could go in the future. When we work on genetics and we work on the crop side of the house, and then we can work on the diet and the ration, ultimately this could lead to developing special programs and more exciting consumer products to get you closer and closer to the consumer and to create unique and proprietary opportunities in livestock. So we're very excited about where that goes, but I'm very proud to now be working with and supporting all our livestock producers. Okay, FBN, exists online. We're always known as an online company, and then people have said, well, the downside of that is that I want to work with somebody locally. Well, you can work with somebody locally. We've created our FBN Community Builder program. We launched that in Canada 2 or 3 years ago, and it is now expanded to over 700 local partners around the world, around the US, Canada, and Australia. A community builder is generally a farmer who is an agent who can represent the FBN products, work with you to support you in the purchase and use of those products, and cover nearly our full portfolio on inputs and livestock supplies. They're independent entrepreneurs. We are a network of entrepreneurs. You all are entrepreneurs. And so we're very proud to be able to support all our community builders and create businesses for them. They can access all the FBN network prices. You can work with somebody locally, support local commerce, and still get the same prices and delivery through FBN. If you're interested in doing that, many of you may be dealers of one type or another, you can become a community builder. We have a training on that this afternoon, or stop by the community builder session. That's what the FBN network means. It's a network not just of all of you and the business, but our partners, our entrepreneurs who support you. And ultimately, we want the community builder program to be the premier rural entrepreneur opportunity if you are somebody who wants to develop off-farm income or supplemental income on the farm. So FBN Direct, you put it all together, you get all the transparent list pricing around the products that you can purchase. You get improved agronomic intelligence around those products and the use of those products. You get direct delivery, now with Delivery Promise, supported by our vast logistics network. You can now do that working with a local partner, and you get access to all the same network prices that we use to drive as much competition and choice for you in the market as possible. 0% Club is one of the most popular parts of FBN and in the financing. So make sure you note this deadline. We do have a deadline coming up. 0% Club on the operating line is December 9th. That's this Friday, and December 23rd. That allows you to use 0% all year long when you meet the threshold on the 0% Club purchase level. And then you can use 0% all year long. In a year like this year, where inflation is rampant and interest rates are nearly 8%, this has never been more valuable. Okay, let's talk about the finance and the marketing side of the house. This is the other half of FBN. There's been a tremendous amount of growth and development here. So a couple years ago, you remember at the last Farmer Farmer, we talked about this, where we just had started working in financial services to provide more financial opportunities to the farm using technology online to do it in a more competitive way. Created FBN Finance. Some of the problems we started seeing: farm bank consolidation. In the last 10 years, number of farm banks have gone down 31%. Their profits have gone up nearly 81% per bank in that period. So you've had both consolidation and therefore increasing profitability in the banking. Meanwhile, you haven't necessarily had more competition for the farm and for your business through that system. There's also other problems of integrating your financial life. When you have a vast business that you have to manage, you have many different financial needs that you have to operate on the farm, whether that's getting a loan, buying insurance, figuring out how to access farmland and buy farmland, how to tap into premium markets and intelligence when you go to market, and make payments. Each of those requires a different set of skills and expertise and typically a different partner. And then what that leads to is that you don't have an integrated view of your farm's financial health. It's very, very difficult to then pull that all together and manage that in a systematic way. And so with FBN, we were working on creating that system that provides you that integrated set of financial services so that you can start to get a more integrated picture and a complete view on your farm's financial health and manage as much of your farm's financial needs through the FBN technology. So that combines what we call, our farm finance platform. Includes things like risk management, which includes insurance and market advisory, finance and financial services products for things like lending, and then grain technology to help you optimize the marketing of your goods in the first place. So let's talk quickly about lending, what that looks like. The last time we started, we talked to you at Farmer2Farmer in 2019, FBN paper. We didn't even yet have a website for it to process an application. It's now a completely digital experience with a very rapid application process across all our products, so you can get nearly instant approvals. It takes 7 to 10 to 15 minutes or so to apply and to get to that approval level, and you can do that across a range of products. The principles for us are having very competitive, great rates based on our ability to be low cost as an online provider, have a very simple process, and have exceptional service to you in the background as well. What's happened? We've grown extremely rapidly as farms have started doing financing in that way. We've extended well over $1 billion in loans. If FBN were a bank, it would rank now in the top 10 as an ag bank in terms of volume. And on average, on our land program, we validated a 28% average savings for folks when they went to buy land. You can see the dots there of farms who've started financing through FBN. There's a range of products that are available to you. Operating lines, which are one of the biggest new developments in FBN, which we'll talk about in a second. Equipment financing, land financing, and input financing. They give you a lot of flexibility as to how to use capital in a very rapid approval process to get capital in the most efficient way possible. When it comes to input finance and 0%, there's two different ways you can get 0% flexibility through FBN. One is the input line. The input line has different limits. It can't be used outside of FBN, and it's a credit up to $300,000. And it's non-revolving. It's a one-time product. The operating line is what we've just came out with this year. It's integrated into the FBN Direct Store. It allows you to still use 0%, so you can get an operating line from FBN. For any purchase in FBN, you can get 0% financing. You can use that line to buy goods, services, equipment from other vendors. You can pay rent, you can pay labor, so you can use that as a conventional operating line, but you get 0% financing on products in the FBN store through the FBN experience. It's revolving, and the credit can go up to $1 million and above with special applications. In land finance, you have a lot of flexibility on different types of structures and rates and timing. You can calculate your rates using our online calculator, so you can see what your expected payments would be before you start the application process. Same thing, it's a 10 to 15 minute application, an instant quote and approval, so you can see what that's going to look like, and very, very rapid experience. And now you're going to have digital repayment as well, so you draw and then you can repay online as well. So it's an integrated farm finance platform. But behind that, it's not just a website. It's not just a website that's a robot or artificial intelligence. There's a lot of personal intelligence and a lot of experience in working with farmers around farm financial management. We have over 34 ag loan advisors. They average about 15 years of experience. They're familiar with all aspects and regions and types of problems that you deal with. And so they can be a very solid, trusted advisor to you through that process. You get the convenience and the speed and the cost of online, and you can get the support of the FBN advisors who will work with you through that process over the phone or in person, depending on where you live. They are all here. You can come meet them. So come talk to them and see what FBN Finance can look like. Talk a little bit about the marketing side. There's some legal disclaimers. When it comes to crop marketing, FBN wants to help you maximize the value of your outputs. We have a range of services from our podcast and our market analyst services that you can access through the market tab of FBN. If you haven't started using these, make sure you go to the market tab, put in your farm's location, and you'll start getting bids and alerts on prices in your region. You can also use FBN for brokerage, futures and options, and now with contracting, which we'll show you in a second. Same thing that is backed up with our farm marketing advisors, so you have somebody to work with as well as the technology to enable the service. Okay, this is something that's always very interesting, which is we go back to that story of a network. We go back to what can a network do and how can you leverage being part of a network in FBN. Well, let's look at some of the insights that FBN was able to generate. A lot of you participate in some of those polls that we send out, either about markets or agronomics. And sometimes we send out specific ones from our FBN research group on expected planted acres or yield estimates. For the last 3 years, FBN has had the lowest error compared to most other market analysts at predicting the USDA forecast and yield. Okay. Now, the challenge in that is that the market, in many ways, is trying to predict what USDA is going to say, because that's ultimately what's sort of driving the market. What we're doing is looking kind of bottoms up at all the different data sources to be able to give you the picture of what we think the actual yield actually is, using the many different types of data that are available through FBN, which include things like satellite imagery, include polling, include other market and price signals that we get in the system. So this has been tremendous. I'll show you what that looks like. Here you can see some of that satellite imagery. This is every field in the country being detected by crop. So it's using 10-meter imagery, we can recognize the crop, we can recognize what typically what kinds of agronomic practices might be able to be used. We can turn that into a weekly refresh of yield forecast, and you have access to that through the FBN system. It powers a lot of our marketing insights. Okay, let's look at that throughout the year. So on the right here, you will see the FBN forecast and the USDA forecast throughout the year. And take a look at the green, where the green starts. That's USDA, that's FBN. And watch where FBN goes and where USDA ends up. Catching up, and then, oh, there we go. So look at the delta and how many months of where FBN was in the national yield versus where USDA ended up and what that spread was. That is the time advantage you have to be able to use that information, okay? Similar results in corn, but this is just fascinating to see the way USDA tracked and ended up virtually exactly where FBN had started. Okay, now when you can do that and you have the infrastructure of all the different systems that FBN has built, you can start pulling that together in very, very interesting and powerful ways to benefit the farm. So when you talk about analytics, and then you talk about finance, and then you have marketing technology, and you have a full range of inputs and research, you can now pull those things together using a common technical infrastructure which FBN has built to do entirely new things. And one of those things is sustainability. And really, sustainability has been challenged because it's been very localized by specific programs tied to specific elevators or specific food companies. And it's not been accessible at broad scale. And ultimately, what FBN wants to be able to do is give you the most choice and flexibility to choose whichever programs you want to participate in, whether or not they work for your farm, and maximize the dollars from the work that you're already doing on the farm. So we created something called Gradable. FBN Gradable is a technology that integrates with grain buyers. They can use it to manage transactions with growers, but if you elect to, it can hook up to the FBN Analytics platform so that you can use data in new ways to actually access premium programs when you transact grain. So FBN Gradable allows grain buyers to work with you to manage transactions, but then behind the scenes, if you want to access it, you can opt in to using your analytics on your farm to then earn premiums through various programs that are available. We have started rolling Gradable out over the last 2 years, and you can see some of the major buyers who are now on the Gradable platform, either from a sustainability or merchant perspective: Poet Ethanol, ADM, MSP Eggs and Farms, and a number of others. And if you sell to any of those producers, you can start using the Gradable platform and technology to access premium programs. And there's actually a longer list here that are coming soon. So if you sell to those folks, this will start being available to you in the FBN app, and you can integrate very quickly. If you come out to the sustainability booth and ask about these programs, we're going to have talks tomorrow about the sustainability programs and how you get into them. There's some talks this afternoon on building the regenerative supply chain. But just come stop by the booth and we will integrate you with your buyers if you're working with any of these partners. Gradable is now available to over 150 elevators around the country. If you are delivering to ADM, this has been one of the biggest partnerships that we've developed over the last year. We're very, very proud of the support of ADM for the FBN platform. You will start being able to see live bids, full integration with your transactions to ADM this winter. It takes about 2 minutes, and there are going to be thousands of sustainability contracts that ADM is developing available to you through the FBN app if you're selling in radius of one of those facilities. So come stop by the ADM booth or the sustainability booth to learn about those programs and what's going to be available to you. Okay, we talked a little bit this morning with Secretary Vilsack about sustainability and some of the support from USDA. That has helped us develop something that we think is truly historic in being able to help you monetize your crop in a different way and help you monetize the practices in a different way. You know, one of the frustrating things with sustainability is you may not get credit for what you've already been doing. So you may have been doing no-till or cover crops for a decade or 2 decades, and you get no credit in the system when it comes to things like carbon or other attributes. And also, those then tend to be available to you in premiums on bushels. But what if instead of premiums on bushels, they're available to you in other forms, like better financing? So we created a program called Regenerative Ag Finance. And what it does is it actually not just taps into, in a premium program, you're tapping into the consumer interest in attaching premiums to a specific food product and therefore to a specific crop. There's also tremendous financial interest from the financial world in investing in regenerative technologies or sustainable technologies. So it takes a completely different approach, and it approaches the world of finance to bring more capital to you for sustainability and regenerative ag. We've partnered with the Environmental Defense Fund to help develop that environmental criteria, also working with Field to Market, many of you are familiar with. The USDA has helped partner around regenerative rebates, and then FBN and Gradable provide both the financing technology and the grain transactional technology to make that all possible. The way it works is that you can validate the practices on your farm. You can do that here in the lobby. It's data-driven, whether or not how you're managing nitrogen and whether or not you're using things like cover crops or other rotational practices. You can get a half-point discount on your operating line again, through the FBN Finance operating line. You can get up to $100K to $5 million in eligible financing for the farm. And right now it's available for corn and soybeans and wheat. We piloted this last year at a small scale. It was the fastest selling system that FBN had created in finance. It sold out in just a couple weeks. It had worked incredibly well, and thank you to all the members who participated in that. And so today, we're very, very excited to make what is really a historic announcement in developing the regenerative ag market to help support producers to do that. So working with our partners, we're announcing the availability over the next 3 to 5 years of up to $1 billion of financing in the form of operating lines for regenerative practices. In 2023, we'll be able to do this for 100 farms. The program will continue to expand over the next 2 to 3 years. Those 100 farms, this is available at Farmer to Farmer. You can get your sustainability verification and go through the sustainability compliance check to see if you qualify at the event. You can go through the loan application at the event. It takes just minutes. It will be limited. So if you're interested in this, please go talk to them here because this is going to go quick. So we're incredibly excited about this because this is really just the start. It will allow us to tap into vast, vast pools of capital that want to work with farmers in new ways and allow you to monetize savings of what you may already be doing in a very simple way, versus some of the other alternatives to you. Okay, talk a bit about FBN insurance. So on the risk management side, one of the big challenges is the government regulates insurance, and what can be charged is also regulated. So the people that you work with make as much of the difference as the price, because price is often not an option in terms of whether or not you can save any money working with a different agent. Now, same problems that we deal with in finance or in other parts of inputs, exist in the insurance world. It's incredibly fragmented. You have, I believe, over 10,000 insurance agents in the United States. Very frustrating manual process. We know how much you don't like filling out insurance claims or going through the insurance process. Very inconsistent, and there's generally no technology behind it. There's no digital record keeping or automation and reporting. And so we want to create a technology platform that supports you and a set of expertise and a set of decision-making tools to make agents more effective at working with you to provide better options and better optimization for your service. We have over 45 agents now around the country. Similar to FBN Finance, if insurance as a whole would be a top 10 agency in the United States. We're licensed across the whole country, covers crop, livestock, even things like apiary. You have a vast amount of experience with our agents who are, again, here and can provide a consultation to you. It's a full range of products, general federal products, some custom private products, parametric coverage, and then special products like the FBN proprietary Pro RP and WeatherGuard. We've recently also expanded into livestock, whole farm, and revenue protection. So if you go to the livestock booth, talk to the livestock insurance team who's there, and they can help you with things like pasture range and forage and revenue protection on the farm as well. So similar to how FBN approaches most problems, looking at can technology provide you leverage, efficiency, transparency, a better experience, and more choice, we're doing the same thing with insurance. So in the background, you'd be able to start seeing all of your fields, their risk coverage, and reporting. You would be able to start matching data from your farm into the reporting that you need to conduct. And then we empower the agents with tools that will start to become more available to you for things like coverage optimization, how to do risk analysis when we look at something like PRF as pasture range and forage. So if you are in ranching or you have pasture land, come out and you can get this optimization look now, and you can see the tools in action at how we actually can look at giving you more comprehensive risk management. There's a range of products and prices that are available to you. Again, all of that uses data science around weather. It uses known variables around land and the crops that you might be growing, or what we can glean from satellite or other sources, and then helps you optimize from a risk-adjusted basis over time. And then what's going to be coming is an integrated policy center, so all your documents are in one place. Your insurance life can be organized. Your agent who's working with you can manage both reporting, optimization, and keep you organized so you can work as well as possible. FBN Health is the other side of insurance, which you can access. It's a group plan that covers groups as small as one employee. It can provide savings to you. So come out to the booth and see if you qualify for the FBN Health program, because that's been a valuable option for many farms as well. So you have to see in insurance, are you maximizing your coverage for every dollar? Okay, so that is the FBN ROI system for 2023. That was actually only a snippet of the FBN ROI system. I didn't get into all the technologies in detail. There's a tremendous amount of detail around each of those and how you can work with FBN, how we can help simplify the process around these different products and technologies, whether it's biologicals or it's our crop protection or seed, insurance or finance. You can do all of that here at Farmer to Farmer. Our team is here, our experts are here, our veterinarians, our nutritionists, our finance, our loan advisors, our management, our executives, they're all here. We want to talk to you to help you solve your problems. So please come out, and then all of the content through the rest of the day and tomorrow will also help you understand how to utilize each of those programs on your farm. So when you put it all together, being part of a network, having access to things like data and analytics, and having the logistic and technical infrastructure to support you leads to more transparent pricing, better seed chem and livestock, better in finance and insurance, and access to new markets. And that's how we try to help create a better future for each of your farms. The aspects and the things that we've been building, again, quality generics, putting confidence in generics through QC, and having a vertically integrated supply chain so that you know that when you're getting that product, it came from an FBN facility, came into an FBN logistics center, went on an FBN truck, and went straight to your farm. Livestock, trait freedom without zone pricing, a range of finance and flexibility and easy and convenient options, our local CB network, and all of the intelligent and premium programs we're doing in marketing. So there's a vast range of tools available to you to improve the ROI on your farm this year. Getting back in the black means focusing on what matters. Staying in the black is going to mean thinking about the next black swans, where they're going to come from, how they're going to impact your operation, and then ultimately thinking about what Jocko said. The path to freedom is discipline. Staying disciplined gives you the flexibility, whether it's time, finances, money, relationships. Staying disciplined means having more access to that freedom. And we go back to Alex, managing your fears means focusing on what you can control, taking control of what's critical, but focusing on what you can control. And ultimately, that's what FBN exists to do, is give you the strength of numbers, of being in a network, and give you the ability to get more control of your business. That's what we're going to keep working on. That's what we've been doing for the last 8 years. We're not going to stop. That's who we are. That's how we approach problems. We want to know how we can help your farm more. Please come to the product design experience or come talk to any of our team and share what you want to see in the future you want to build in agriculture. That's what FBN has existed to do, and that's how we've become the network that we are today. And this is what we've always said. Farming should be fair to farmers. There's no reason that it should be any other way. This is just common sense and the right way to do business. The industry should reflect your interests. The industry should work for you. Without you, there is no farm industry. It doesn't look that way from the outside in. It sort of looks like the opposite. Looks like there's an industry and, well, it doesn't matter who's farming because the land will get grown. It's actually the opposite. Without you, there is no industry. That's the way we approach it. We don't take 1 inch for granted. We have earned each of your trust through trying to be better, trying to be faster, trying to be more affordable, trying to be smarter. That is what we are always going to stay focused on. It is you who drives the industry. The land is best managed by family farms. That is the way we want to see it, both for sustainability and having a resilient food system and rural culture and rural economy that is just vital to the national interest. That is key to FBN, and that's what it means for FBN to be farmers first. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. And now we're going to have some time to go through what the rest of Farmer to Farmer is going to be and what you'll have access to at the event. So thank you. Water. Okay, so I know there was a lot there, but we're just scratching the surface on all the types of things that are available to you. Each one of our teams and each one of those products has a great degree of expertise and depth to take you through. So if you saw things that were interesting to you, definitely come out and talk to the team and